Hi, this is Hillary with Ohio Political News, and today we have Chris Wyllie. He is a Navy SEAL, and he is going to be featured at the Freedom 250 event this weekend for Memorial Day at Arlington Cemetery. Chris, thank you so much for coming on with us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Of course, the first big question that I have is going to be about Memorial Day, and what does that mean to you personally?
Oh, well, it's just a day that, we're trying to remember all of the people that paid the ultimate price and sacrificed their lives and their futures so that we could live free. So Memorial Day is very dear and sacred to me. So it's a day of reflection, a day of prayer and remembrance. So it's very special to me. And I would love for people to, if they're having fun and having a barbecue and enjoying themselves, at least take a moment and remember somebody, remember one of the fallen.
Why do you think it's important for Americans to continue to gather like we're doing this weekend with Freedom 250? Obviously, next year will be 251 and so on and so on. But why do you think it's important for Americans to gather for events and in holidays like this one?
Well, I just think it's mutual support. So you get together with people that have like-minded. I think we're trying to return back to some values that may have been set aside or lost over the years. And I really believe that strengthening that desire to love our country, be patriotic, be appreciative of the men and women who fought and gave the ultimate sacrifice for our abilities to live free in the greatest country in the world. I think it's very important for us to be able to get together and celebrate those things. It's just a way of life. And as Americans, we should be proud of it.
Do you think younger generations fully understand the sacrifices that are represented at Arlington Cemetery?
I don't believe so yet, and I'm speaking of on younger generations of maybe the kids that are in high school right now, even young 20s. I don't believe a lot of them have experienced or have a life experience to the point of where they've truly lost somebody or understand sacrifice or selflessness. And touring Arlington National Cemetery, not only on Memorial Day, there's so many historic figures that have done so much for our country, creating the country, founding the country, being presidents of our country, Medal of Honor recipients, people that just died in combat. There's so much history and amazing stories that I don't believe they honestly can relate to it yet. Granted, do I want them to feel or experience traumatic loss? No, I don't. But I think the only way you can actually appreciate and understand Arlington National Cemetery or Memorial Day weekend is going through some suffering and sacrifice yourself.
What do you believe is the greatest misconception that civilians have about military service?
That it's easy. You're pausing your life and you're writing a blank check to the government that at some point could be cashed in with your life. So it's a very important thing for people to be part of the military, hear that calling to serve your country. It's a wonderful experience. It's definitely different, right?
Yeah.
After you go through the military, you go through boot camp, you serve your country, you're never a civilian again. You turn into a veteran. And being a veteran is different than being a civilian. So once you take that oath to serve your country, you're forever changed. And to me, I believe it's in a very good and positive way. So I
Mm.
think a lot of people don't understand why veterans are veterans, or what they, why our humor might be a little different, or what our, why we may get really angry if we see somebody desecrating the flag, things of that nature. I've seen too many people come home with flags over their coffins to be comfortable with somebody burning or stepping on or, desecrating our flag. So that I wish more young Americans and more Americans in general just understood that it's okay to be patriotic. It doesn't mean you have to be on one side or the other. Love of country, I think, is across the board, and it's something that we should all be proud of and put effort in.
Can you share a story of sacrifice that stayed with you for throughout your entire life?
Oh, that's a great question. I had one of my teammates was one of the first funerals that I had to attend after I got hurt. So once I got hurt in the military, I did not want to leave the military and got injured to the point where I needed to retire. And shortly, weeks after that, I had a close friend die, and that was pretty much very. I should have been there or deployed at the same time. So that was one of the more impactful memories that I have, that I don't forget. And being a part of a museum right now and remembering daily a lot of these men, it's very therapeutic for me.
How do we properly honor Gold Star families beyond just one weekend each year?
I work with and around a lot of Gold Star families, and it is a honor. One, to be around them. Two, it is a little difficult because some days are great and a lot of days are not. So there's a lot of anniversaries or milestones or things that pop up that their loved one would have been a part of. Like I'm at the Michael Murphy Museum from the movie Lone Survivor, Medal of Honor recipient. So he's going to be 50 or he would have just turned 50. So now I hear his parents, saying, "Oh, I can't believe he would have been 50." What you could do with Gold Star families is just be respectful, maybe ask them about their loved one, man or woman. That's what's amazing because we do lose female service members, and ask about who they lost. Ask a story. You don't have to ask, or you shouldn't probably ask how, but just asks, something funny about them, and you could see a lot of times having a Gold Star family or mother or father speak of a happy memory is a much better response or reaction than them having to relive telling you why or how.
So, what does the phrase freedom isn't free? What does that mean to you?
Wow. Okay. Freedom isn't free. And, the cost of freedom, and we have a wall that we literally have the name is the cost of freedom on our wall here. I couldn't even put a figure on it of what the value of one human being is. So I believe we're almost to 1 million US citizens that have died in our wars since we became a country. I believe that figure is pretty close to that number, but how do you put a number or how do you put a figure on that? If you think I have children, I wouldn't, want them to die, if they chose, and my son is thinking about doing a military service. If he chose to be in the military, I would be 100% behind him. But I couldn't even fathom how I would feel if I had that loss. To me, I would give the world, I'd give my own life to keep him around. Freedom is not free, and that value of a human life is immeasurable.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you said that because it's one of the things that I think that we forget. And I've talked to quite a few Gold Star families, and they say the same thing. Yes, it might be one person in their family that, that passed, but it affects and it changes so many other people's lives from that one life lost. And then times that by however many, all of the tombstones that you see at Arlington, times that by at least two for a mom and a dad. And then any
Mm-hmm.
siblings and any children and spouses, it's a ripple effect of grief and of life's changed. So it's not free. It's not free at
No,
all.
not
Um,
at all.
my next question is, what does it mean to hold this observance that we're doing this weekend or on Monday, specifically at the Arlington Memorial Amphitheater?
It's just the national cemetery. It is one of the biggest and most important cemeteries in our country. So I believe that we have some of the oldest historical figures buried there. So it is a sacred ground. So to have the ability to host Freedom 250, uh, this national Memorial Day observance there, just makes it even more special. We're going to have a candlelight storytelling with about Medal of Honor recipients. We'll have Gold Star families. I believe Gretchen Wilson's going to play and be there. There's it's just going to be a very emotional, and our oral history of we're talking about next generations and things like that. The passing down of information, especially in a storytelling way, in a setting such as Arlington, candlelit, just ingrains that memory a little more into your brain. So it's just not somebody speaking to you in a car ride. You're there, you're experiencing this wonderful environment with all these people and all this emotion. So I just think it's a blessing, and I think that we're very lucky, and it's very special to have it hosted at the Arlington National Cemetery.
So, speaking of the Rededicate 250 event that we were both at
Mhm.
last weekend, I was kind of surprised. Well, I guess I shouldn't say surprised, but I did see a lot of news outlets refer to this as Trump's event, even though obviously the president was not there.
Hmm.
that the Freedom 250 is a completely separate organization from the Trump administration. And they were really trying to make this movement of falling in love with your country again political. Of course, my concern, and I think a lot of concerns that folks are considering when it comes to attending this event is the political nature of something that shouldn't be political at all. So do you believe that honoring our fallen can still bring Americans together despite the political division that's going on in our country right now?
That is a wonderful question. Unity is a choice.
Yeah.
Okay, so to reunite this country, people have to choose to do that. To honor your fallen servicemen and women over centuries of our country's history, and to just take a moment and reflect on those people lost. I don't understand how that could be political or twisted into a political way. Same thing of being religious and rededicating your faith and your country to God. I can't see how they do that. So
Yeah.
we both were at the same event. We both saw the same things. We both probably had the same feelings of frustration and other aspects of it. But my take on it is that love of country, being patriotic, respecting your flag, respecting servicemen, respecting your police officers and firemen, your local public servants that are coming to rescue you when you need them. That is a part of life. That is something that should be ingrained in you from your parents, grandparents, and passed down, that understanding of respect your elders. So I think it's more of a choice. And you could choose to make anything into a political argument, but Memorial Day is Memorial Day, period. 4th of July is 4th of July, period. You want to make it into something that it's not, that's on you. And I feel bad for you.
I couldn't agree more, honestly. I was so surprised with the articles that were trying to take something as beautiful as patriotism and prayer and twist it because that's exactly what they did.
Mhm.
So my last question for you, Chris, will be if you could say one thing directly to the American people tonight, what would it be?
Choose to love your country, choose to be patriotic, choose to be respectful to the public servants that are out there, thank a veteran, and choose to reunite this country. That's what we need. We need the choice. We need all of America to choose to bring us back together and to not make such a big deal out of things that we can kind of figure out together if we just stop putting up tremendous rifts and walls between us, so it's not that hard to get along if you choose to get along.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.